Hi guys, good morning. My name is Ayo Bankole. I'm your host for the Failure Diaries Podcast. I'm excited to be here again with a very fantastic guest of mine. As you know, that the Failure Diaries Podcast is designed to bring you stories in the journeys of entrepreneurs, everyday individuals, professionals, business leaders, even politicians, as the case may be, so that we can know that there's no smooth path to success, and the rough path that you're going through today, everybody else that you see or admire go through some of this, and it helps us build resilience and it helps us move closer to our destination. Today, I have a very important individual. He's an amazing entrepreneur. He's a friend. He's a client, and he's an all-round amazing individual. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me to welcome Mr. Tope Runsewe. I call him the billionaire builder. Welcome, Mr. T.
Yeah,
Welcome,
man. Thank
welcome.
you. Thanks for having me.
Meanwhile, don't forget to follow us on Instagram, on YouTube, more importantly, YouTube and Spotify, on Facebook, on Apple, the Failures Diaries podcast, on all platforms. I'm sure you'll be glad that you did. So let's get to it. Mr. T, welcome to our podcast. Finally, I mean, we've been trying to get you here, but I guess schedule and all of these things. So tell us through your journey. How did it start? How did all of this, start? The Dutum job. I know that before Dutum, you spent some time, working in investment banking. How was growing up like? How did you stumble into all of this, and what challenges did you have as you were growing up that contributed to your journey so far?
Thank you. Thank you, AY. Thanks for having me. So I think it, these conversations are actually interesting and useful because it gets you to um, think back at certain things you didn't realize were shaping you. So I grew up in a family of five. I was the first of five, and my dad was is a businessman. My mom also an entrepreneur. So entrepreneurship is what I sort of grew up seeing every day, and the plan was study, get some experience, and I knew from forever that I was going to be a businessman. There was there was nothing else that appealed to me. I knew that, and that business could have been many things. I could have been selling tires. I could have been, because in my time I've done many of those things. We'll probably talk about them. So studied, worked in, got a good job, and after a few years, I just thought it was time to to move on from that. So I resigned. I returned to Nigeria, and I've been on the Dutum journey now. This month will make it 17 years.
Oh wow, we
Yeah.
should we should celebrate. We should. I'll come to the office so we can drink champagne.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. So, were there any setbacks at all along the line, or was it just a smooth journey into the transitioning?
Okay, so for context, and to rewind a bit, I think one of the things that my life just, I don't know, I just find that generally most times I have to grind for a while before things
Mm,
take shape. And I've observed that there are people that it applies to differently.
mm,
So I'll tell you what I mean. So I in 1999 was when I graduated from finished secondary school, and I got admission to University of Ibadan to study civil engineering, and we resumed, and Freshers Week there was a strike,
mm.
um, and then that strike ended up lasting over a year.
Wow,
It was a crazy strike. Anyway, so we
one
crossed,
year.
yes, we crossed into the new year. So during that time, I would go for lesson, SAT, A level, just keeping myself, academically active and busy. And in the course of the year, my dad then came and said, "Look, uh, there was no plan for me to study abroad. But as that strike was taking forever, Just came and said, maybe you just look for somewhere. But because of my, I don't know, I just had this natural nature of um, responsibility and all of that. So as I was looking for schools, I was looking for where I could get scholarships. And nobody sent me that one, but I just did. So I applied for several schools. And then in my research, I started finding out, different nuances. Anyway, long and short of the story, I ended up in an American school in London with a
Oh,
part scholarship. So at the beginning, I think I was on about 40% scholarship. And then, yeah, it was also based on there were requirements for academic performance to maintain the scholarship. But as I went from year to year, I was improving and the scholarship kept increasing. By the end of my second year, I was on a full scholarship. And also, apart from being on a full scholarship, also from the beginning, this sense of responsibility, the moment I I resumed, I started looking for, activities I could do in the school to, earn an income, to just be a part of the fabric of the system. So by my second semester, I was part of, somebody that just came from Nigeria. I didn't know anything. After one term, I joined the orientation leaders, people that are welcoming people. This is
welcoming people.
welcoming people. This is an American international school in London. So we had nationalities from all over the world. So you welcome them. So by my second semester, I was already part of the
The
people
people welcoming
and that
others.
so we'll do it for a week, 2 weeks. We'll resume a week before everyone. We'll do it for a week and then a week after. And that period, I remember, I think they used to pay us like £100, So, and then from there, I started asking again, what next, what next. Then I found out there were another higher category of people they call resident assistants. Those ones, their work lasts for the whole year. So I said, okay, instead of just being orientation leader only, let me join. By the second next one, I had already become a resident assistant. And then I started looking. Then I found out there's a senior role that is reserved for people that are not even students called resident director. So I was just eyeing and thinking about it. And then the person who was the previous resident director, got another job and left. So the place became open. So I then asked, how can I become the resident director? And they're like, this is not for students. No student has ever
Done
held
it.
this position. It's usually for students that have graduated. So I said, well, let me apply now. So they just said I should apply for so that I will not feel bad. Anyway, long and short, I performed the best at the
Oh,
interview and I
wow.
got the job. And that job then came with a full salary, came with free accommodation. So by the time I was in my
Wow.
third year, I wasn't paying for accommodation, I wasn't paying any school fees. Um, and I had three jobs. I had a business. I was selling computer parts. I was doing everything. So that is just how that has been my natural progression. I would go on eBay then. I would go and
Yeah,
buy
eBay.
eBay. I would look for used cars in the outskirts of London. Bid for them online. Travel by train or air sometimes because there were some occasions I went to pick up the cars all the way in Scotland. I'll buy the car online. That's risk taking, you because eBay you don't really
You
see
don't know
what you don't know who
yeah,
is there. I'll buy the car online and then travel
all the way
hours
to go and
all the way to
carry.
go and pick the car. On many occasions I would end up with speeding tickets on my way back. There was I can never forget one. I went to somewhere in Scotland, maybe Glasgow or somewhere. I bought the car and I was driving back. That was the first time I was going to drive that kind of distance. I remember it took about 8 hours,
Wow.
and I was just the journey was going. And this
And you
was
were
this
young.
this was yes, I was what I was maybe 20, 21.
Wow.
Yeah, 21. Yeah, you know, and it was the first time I was driving that kind of distance. That time there was no Google Maps, there was no
Yeah.
all of these things. So you will print direction. You know, sometimes you have the yellow book. If you don't have that one, you print direction
Yeah,
and you
yellow
just be
book.
flipping and following. So the journey was so long. I was speeding. And then I got back a couple of days later. I got a letter that I was over speeding and that I had to come to court all the way back in Scotland
You are kidding.
to get my judgment.
So did you go back?
Wait now. So, and the time they gave me for the court case was 9 a.m. and I'm in London. There's no way to get to Scotland at 9 a.m. So I went by train the day before, paid for hotel so that I can appear in court early the next morning to get my judgment. So I remember, I can never forget, the judge was like, so Mr. Runsewe, do you realize you were doing 127 on a 70 mile road? You care to explain to this court what you were thinking? I said, Your Honor, I was pressed and I needed to get to the nearest service station. The man laughed. He said, do you think we're joking in this place? He gave me a fine, gave me 6 months suspension on my license, points, everything. Long and short of the story is that by the time I paid the fine, paid the
It would
hotel
be a loss
bill,
on the
the
car.
whole car was a loss.
My
The whole
goodness.
car was a loss. I made no money. It was a disaster. But that did not stop me from going again.
You continued?
Oh, I continued. There was a time I would have like 5 cars in front of my house. Every Sunday, I'll take a new car to church. People would think, this guy is money. There were cars for sale, And once somebody talked to me, this your car is nice.
But why did you leave the business? Because people still make a lot of money from selling cars.
I just sort of outgrew the business. It was just one of the things I did. It was close to and this is the thing as well. I think I pay attention to my environment a lot. How did I get into cars? There was a senior person in my church. I used to see him bring a different car to church every Sunday. So, and my curiosity, I'm never afraid of asking questions. I went up to him. I said, Ebon, you have a new car every Sunday. What's going on? Ejamisi. He was like, no, it's a business. I said, how do you do it? And he was one that told me exactly what he did. So I just started doing the same
on
thing.
eBay.
You go on eBay, look for cars far or away from London, and come and sell it in London, because London, you will get a bit of a premium. And what are we talking about? These were not like exorbitant, profit margins. Sometimes you make £100, sometimes £200. In that other case I explained, maybe in 2 or 3 cases I end up with like £250 negative.
Yeah. But the others would then balance up.
The others would then balance up. Then I would sell computer parts. I was doing all sorts. But yeah, so that was how, I started trying my hands on business, seeing, understanding the practicality of, revenue, profit, loss, all those things. You learn all those things in economics, but the reality of it is
The reality
usually-
hits
it
differently.
differently, and that was when I also started learning about credit, because I was then I'll take some credit on a credit card, use it to buy the computer parts, quickly sell it enough time so that it doesn't start accruing interest. All of that. I've been on this,
for a long time.
A long time.
Okay, so let's talk very briefly about Dutum, which is your company. I know that it's a legacy business and over 30-something-year-old business. And I see tremendous projects that you've done. I see, fantastic commercial properties, residential properties. But then I also know that you did start from Abuja and all of that. So how did you get here? How did the journey evolve? How did it migrate to you from your dad, and how do you balance all of that? How tell us the story.
All right, thank you. So when I resigned from my job in JP Morgan and decided I was ready, that was 9 years. I had been in the UK for 9 to 10 years. I just thought it was time to come back to Nigeria. So I resigned. I came back. I had not served at the time. So in my thinking and looking at what I wanted to do, I made up my mind before coming that I want to try my hands on this business that I've seen, growing up
All your life.
all my life. So I thought about it. Okay, the business was registered in Ibadan, head office was in Ibadan. Where do I want to go? As I was thinking of coming back to Nigeria, so I thought, let me go to a completely different location, and I chose Abuja. And so I went to Abuja, served in Abuja, and started, looking at the Dutum organization from my dining table, really. Started looking at it and everything, and I made up my mind, okay, I want to do this. So I spoke to my dad. I was like, why not? he never asked me. He didn't say he wanted me to necessarily do the business. Of course, it's his desire, talking about it here and there. But I saw him working there, and I had a natural, affinity to do something with it. So started on my dining table, started looking at all the elements. What we did then was public sector. We were, road construction company, infrastructure, working for government, state governments. Before then, we had when I joined the business, we had been in maybe about 7 to 8 states, mostly in the southwest, Kogi and maybe Para. So I looked at it and I told my the management, the board, that look, we can't be a Nigerian company that only works in 6, 8 states. What's that about? When foreigners come to Nigeria, they're working in Maiduguri. Foreigners come to Nigeria, they're working in
Exactly.
Kafancha. They're working in the east. So why are we saying we have to limit ourselves? So I said, from now on, we look for work anywhere. We're still public sector, but then we opened it up. Stay applying for work anywhere in the country. And today now, we have worked and completed projects in 27 states of Nigeria.
Wow.
I have personally been to at least 27 to 30 states of Nigeria doing work. So we started the public sector engagements, and I started looking at federal government. That was part of the reasons why I moved to Abuja, because I saw the FCT as the seat of the federal government. So we now started driving, looking for contracts in different federal government parastatals. We've worked in many, from CBN to FIRS, Ministry of Works, FEMA. I have stories for days on, some of those engagements, how we get to work, how we look for that. And a lot of these things also, I didn't realize I had been watching how my dad did a lot of
Did the
things as
engagement.
far as public sector was concerned, all the smoothing you need to do, all the talking, all the there's something I learned from my dad for a long time, and it's gifting, just, whether birthdays, whatever is, then I'll tell you one very interesting story. There was, as I was doing my engagement, there was someone I knew took me to an agency of government, and by my training, I always go with a gift. So in this particular occasion, that time I'll go with things like materials, because Abuja,
Yeah,
please carry a
kaftan.
kaftan, materials, sometimes wristwatches. So on this particular occasion, I went with the wristwatch. The first time I was meeting the person, I gifted him the watch. We spoke, and I left. And nothing from him. I was sending message, nothing. Sending message, nothing. 2 years later, my phone rings. Is this guy? He said, "Is that Tope Dutum?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Where are you?" I said, "I'm in Abuja." He said, "Come to my office." So I went to his office. As I entered his office, he said, "Is it not you that gave me this watch?" I said, "Yes." He said, "I have work for you." And like that, our first massive, I did
Wow.
that work in Plateau State. Um, Another story there, we didn't finish the work because of security. It was around the time of security. My staff called me one morning in the middle of the night. Oh, God, they are shooting. They are killing people. They are this, that.
Wow.
I said, anything you do, just as soon as you see small sunlight, get
Run.
everybody in the car and start coming back to Abuja. We never went back. We left the equipment. We
Are you
left
serious?
we've not gone
But
back
how
there
about the
since.
payments?
Payment. Yeah, talking about payment. When we're talking about security, they said they were chopping people's head off. Those are
Oh
the risks
Lord,
that
that place used to be a
it was.
hotbed in
Oh,
those days.
it was unbelievable, because he said some groups are killing Christians, some groups are killing Muslims. We don't know. In my team, I have Christians, I have Muslims, I have everybody. So anybody could be a target.
Yeah.
So I just told them, everybody get on the road and start coming, and that was how we were building our public sector portfolio and everything. And then as we continued, I was observing everything. I took a course. At Stanford Seed, and in that course, they did an analysis of our income and our finances. And in one of the analyses, there was a trade receivable element, and we saw that most of our receivables were taking 180 days, 360 days, some 720 days. That's 2 years. So after seeing the data, I'm like, what are we doing here? This government sector, is killing the business. You can't be waiting for payments. There were periods
Forever. Yeah.
you will wait for payment for 6 months, 1 year, and you have staff. And because of that, it will transfer. You can't meet your overheads. You can't meet all of that. So in that analysis, I said I need to think: is this construction business sustainable? And so I spent some time researching different construction companies, and I narrowed down to two big ones. And one of them was a public sector driver. At the time, they were turning over 100 billion. When I was doing that research, this was over 10 years ago. The other one, also a big construction company, but they were strictly private sector. At that time, they were doing around 30 billion, so around 30% of the
The
other
other
one.
one.
So I thought to myself, this was uh, 2018, 19, 2018. I said, well, if they are doing 30 billion and they only do private sector, it means that there's an
Since there's
opportunity here.
opportunity here.
So if I at the time, all I said was, if I can even just do 10%, then I'm talking 2018.
Yeah.
That's not
That's
a
3
small
billion. Yeah, of course, at the time.
so I was like, let's just aim for 10% of this and fine. And that's how we started shifting our focus from government, started coming to Lagos, got our first projects, private sector, and then so at that time we were 100% government. That was our only clients,
Yeah.
different government agencies. Today, we're 95% private, only
Fantastic.
5% government. We have switched completely. And the difference is clear. We can plan, we can project, we can have a structure that can be built properly, and you can actually know where the business is going. Like before, that was just like this up and down.
Interesting. But let's talk about that transition from public to private, because I know that private sector bidding also comes with its own dynamics, networking, all of those kind of things. So how did you make that transition, and how did you even migrate from Abuja to Lagos?
So
What was the biggest flashpoint of challenge that you had?
So the biggest flashpoint of challenge was understanding how to get work in the private sector space, which is completely different from public sector. So public sector, there are only two things you need. You need to know enough government officials. And two, you need to, at the time, because of the Public Procurement Act, all government projects get advertised in the dailies or in Federal Tenders Journal. So my companion daily then was I used to have like
papers.
four newspapers every day, and then weekly I used to have the Tenders Journal. So that's how we used to find out about work, and then the rest was knowing the right government officials. But as I came to private sector, I really didn't understand how to navigate and understand how to get projects. So I got a first. There was I visited a friend of mine's brother who had just gotten a government contract in Abuja. They were doing groundbreaking ceremony, so I attended with him. And in that meeting, he introduced me to his brother and introduced me to his brother's friend. And then his brother's friend was doing a small project somewhere in Abuja that needed a road construction. So we spoke, he gave me the project. Very small. This was maybe 2013. The whole project was like 7 million. We did the work, did it very quick. He commended us. And then he called and said, look, anytime I have a project in Abuja, you guys are my go-to. That was a year passed, 2 years passed, three passed, nothing from him. Then one day he called like 4 years later and said, I promised you a project in Abuja.
4 whole years.
Yes, I can't seem to find anything in Abuja, but I think I have something in Lagos. Are you interested in coming to Lagos? I said, Azal now. This is what I've been talking about. I was around the time
that
when
you were
I was
looking at
already looking at
transitioning.
transitioning. That's how he sent us the bid. We bid for it. We did everything. For context, without trying to mention numbers, the project he invited us for in Lagos was over 100 times that first project he
More
gave
than
me.
that first project.
That first project.
And
he
this
gave
was
me.
4 years
This
after.
was 4 years after.
Because there's a lesson in there for
in fact,
relationships and,
I couldn't, I initially could not believe that guy that gave me that 7 million work was now calling me for work that was over 100 times more. So we bid, we followed up. I had nothing less than 6 to 7 meetings. I'll fly from Abuja, meet with him, discuss, negotiate, and then they awarded the project. I still could not believe it until they asked us for advance payment guarantee. I still could not believe it until the payment came. I was like, whoa,
Now
this
then
is
you're like,
real.
okay, this is
is real.
reality.
And then that's our first Lagos project. But I still did not really, I had not learned the lesson. And this is something I realized. There are different ways to learn. You can learn from reading, from understanding, but there are some that you can only learn by
By doing,
experiencing it.
yeah, by experience.
So when I came, my plan was, now we're in Lagos, so private sector, let me just do this work well and more work will come. That was right, but it was not completely right because I did no marketing. I did no networking. I did no sale. That time, I'll resume on that site at 7 a.m. I'll be the first person on the site. I'll be the last person on the site. My view was, let me just do this work well. And more work
Yeah,
will
you
come.
start with it.
You know, unfortunately, as the work was going on, the project ran into some issues and the project was suspended for 2 years.
Jesus. So you got stranded.
I got stranded. I had not done any marketing, no networking, no nothing, no new project. So,
My
and everything
goodness.
was dependent on me successfully delivering this project so that more work would come. That was how.
And
I
what was
started.
happening in Abuja at the time?
So I was going back and forth, but because I had already told my guys we are moving from, public sector
So things
to
are
private,
slowed.
so things are slowed down. I was really just sustaining that office from what we were doing in Lagos.
My
And,
goodness.
bro, at that time, because the project had started, I had started coming to Lagos. I had rented a place. I was living partly in Lagos. I'll go to Abuja on weekends. My family was in Abuja. So as that thing happened, it was a shock. I could not quickly navigate to get new projects or anything. It was so bad, I could not renew my rent in Lagos. It was so bad. Everything.
These things are easy to laugh at now.
Yes, everything, all the furniture, beds, everything that I had bought in that apartment, I sent it to my parents' house in Ibadan.
Are you serious?
Yes, and I just, with my tail in between my legs, went back to Abuja and started thinking, what have I done to myself?
Oh my God, I had to laugh at that.
What have I done to myself? How am I,
How did I find myself here?
I was.
I should have just stayed. I was doing well.
I was doing all the right things, in my opinion. That okay, how do you explain to someone that you just made up your mind that let me deliver this project well, and you still didn't get everything right? So I was.
That's always the risk element.
I was not completely right. If you want to understand, business success, there are probably 20 elements.
Yeah.
You can't do one well and abandon the remaining 19.
Yes, exactly.
You have to do
you can't put all your eggs inside.
You have to do a certain number of things well in order for you to, move. So anyway, I went back to Abuja, started rethinking, re-strategizing, and anyway, we came back to Lagos again. And now, from the lessons of that time, so I came back with a marketing mind. When I came back, by the time I started coming back, I didn't employ an engineer first. I employed a business development person.
Exactly, from the lessons.
So business development and social media.
As we are doing this one.
And I just pushed that. They were the ones that were collecting my money, business development and marketing. And we started pushing out. At the time, and this also taught me another lesson. I don't know how, some people don't agree with this, but my view is that get the business first.
Yes.
And
figure it out.
The intelligence will come for you to figure out how to execute.
Yes.
This has always been my model, just so that time, after that lesson, I just told the guy, just go out, look for the business. When we get the business,
we'll come back and strategize.
And a lot of you will chop cane, you will pay school fees. Because as you're trying to figure out how to execute, you will make some mistakes.
Yeah.
You would, some of them will be expensive. Some of them you will not be able to recover from. Some you make losses on, loads of those.
So, and that brings me, talking about losses, which, I don't know if there is any particular one, but can you recount the biggest flashpoints of failure in terms of project delivery that almost, aside the one you shared with us, that you never come back, that you never forget about?
So there's one, and it's quite is long, right? The funny thing about it is that the recovering from the loss took over 5 years, right? But it has created so much value 10, 15 years later. So as I was in FCT looking for work and everything, we were not able to get work within the Federal Capital Territory. At the time, and because our focus was government, when you go to the government agencies, they said at the time they only give work here to those beggars, they only give work here to those, so you couldn't. So I was trying. And then one day, somebody told me about an agency of the federal government that was funded by the World Bank. And he said, this agency, because it's funded by the World Bank, they deal in merit. So if you are technically sound and you are the lowest bidder, you get the work.
You get it.
So I told my guys, be on the lookout for any advert from this agency. And as soon as one came out, we immediately applied. So I got a consultant to help us put together our technical documents. And this is very important. You can have it or not know how to present it.
Exactly.
So I got consultants, they packaged the same documents we had been trying and using and failing. They packaged it in a way, and when this tender came, we put in for it and we scaled the technical phase. I was like, wow, okay, World Bank. We said we can get World Bank. Okay.
And those things actually increase your confidence level.
And then we put in, and then they now went to the financial stage. We tendered, and in that list, because everything was so open, they will give you the list of everybody that puts in, the scores, everything. The moment we scaled the technical and they opened the financial, we were the third. And I went through the process and I saw that they awarded it to the person who was the lowest. Right? So I was like, okay, all right. So that means as I was this close, next time, if I'm also
if I can beat that pricing,
this is my joker. So I was like, guys, be on the lookout. And on the lookout, the next thing, there was an advert for some projects in Abuja, some bridges. So we put in for it. Of course, now we understood the technical. We put in the technical, we scaled through. When it was time for financial, my guys brought me the tender. I told them, what profit have you put? They said like 20%. I said, go and remove all the 20%. Yeah, sir, that's a lot. That's it. I said, go and remove all the 20%. Oh God. I said, I'm vetoing your professional.
You went in there.
I told them
full awareness that this will be a loss.
Yes, I said, go and remove the 20%. And it was 3 bridges, and we put in the process, technical, of course, we scaled through because we already, understood that part. And the financial, a couple of days later, weeks later, they opened it. It was like I was a prophet. We put in for 3. We're the lowest in all 3. Everybody started celebrating. Whoa. But it was not over yet. The story is still long. So when it was time for award, they invited us and told us they were going to give us 1, which I was even already celebrating. I was happy to get 1 because we've never worked in
yes, exactly.
So they awarded the 1 and we were getting ready to start and all of that. And then a couple of weeks later, they called us and said they awarded the remaining 2, making 3. The celebration will be here, But I found out what happened. What happened later was that when they had done the analysis and we came the lowest in all 3, the Nigerian leg of the organization said, we can't give these new people 3. We don't know them. Let's give them 1. So they recommended us for 1. But when they sent this, their analysis to the World Bank head office, which will now review everything they did again, they came back and said, why are you not giving the others to the person who came lowest?
After all, that's
the process. They said, we don't know. They said, well, in your advert, you did not state that if you have not worked with us before, you can only get 1. So go and give them, all of them that they won legally. If they now don't perform, you already have instruments that you blacklist them, you do all of that. That's how we got all 3. Now came the next challenge.
How do we deliver
the project? So I started looking for people, consultants, looking for all of them. Who is going to help us? So one of the first ideas my people came and said, okay, let us just subcontract it. We've not done this thing before. So we started looking for people to subcontract it to. But I was shocked. When they submitted their quote,
it was higher than
how much we got it.
My goodness.
So I told my guy, I said, we're going to do these things ourselves. So I found a consultant. I negotiated with him. His money was much. And I said, you know what? What we're going to do is whatever profits that we make, me and you will share it. So that you are in this project, you are not coming to earn fees. You are not coming to earn fees. So you are also committed to making sure that our expenses are as low as possible, because you know
Yeah,
that
because you know that's where you
your
make money
income.
from.
So you now say, no, that's not fair. And I say, okay, you know what? You go and calculate what you feel is the profit margin on this. So I will agree on a set profit margin with you upfront. Whether we make it or not, your own will be complete. I think we agreed 10%, right? So every payment comes. 10% is the profit. We'll share it according to our sharing formula. That was how we agreed, so that he was comfortable. That's how I was able to get a highly skilled person. And people were wondering, how is MD able to pay this person? They didn't know
I didn't know the nitty
all the
gritty.
nitty gritty of how. That's how we got the technical person. Then what about equipment? We didn't have equipment. I was improvising. I would be sleeping. I mean, just by my nature, I sleep, drink my business. I will be sleeping, thinking about it.
Ah.
That day, I slept and I had a dream. I saw something that was the solution to what we needed. So the next morning, I called my guys. I said, go and bring our conveyor belt in so and so place. Go and bring this, go and bring that. And we constructed a makeshift batching plant, because the volume of concrete we needed for those bridges was so much that you cannot be using
Yeah, you can't
you
be
can't be
using
using all that manual.
pong
But
pong manual.
unfortunately, the amount we were awarded the project was too low for us to go and pay ready mix
Yeah.
concrete producer. So I had to figure out a way to produce our own ready mix
My
ourselves. So I
goodness.
created a makeshift,
And if you
batching
had not
plant
delivered, it would have been a
it would have been a
disaster.
disaster. So we created that. Look, I produced all the concrete we used for all the 3 bridges inside 1 yard. I so produced that concrete so much. So I bought 1 truck, and on the days when we were producing concrete, we would hire the remaining. We so did that concrete so much so that people started approaching us to buy concrete. They thought we had a massive batching plant. In fact, there was one guy who approached me. He wanted to build a 7-story building, and he approached us. He said he wants us to supply all the concrete. So we had concluded all the transaction. The figures were done, everything. If I had already made up my mind, the moment he pays the advance payment, I will now go and buy the plants. So as he was ready to pay, we had finished. He now said, "Wait, before we make
Where
payment,
is
let me
your
visit
factory?
your facility." I said, "God, we've concluded now. You can see the concrete. Have you not seen the concrete?" He said, "No. How can I release this kind of money to someone? I have not seen where the concrete will be produced." He argued. Eventually, he said he will come. So he came to the yard. He said, so when he got there, I said, "This is the plant." He said, "No, no, now." I said, "Where you produce it?" I said, "This is it now." He said, "So you mean all the bridges and everything? This is where you are?" I said, "Yes." He said, no, I'm sorry, I can't give you the money. No,
Wow.
I can't. I said, "Boga, you saw the concrete, you can see the bridge." He said, "We can see the bridge now. How do we know it's going to be standing in the next couple of years?" I'm talking about it. My friend, I like your spirit, but I can't give you this money. When you have a real plant, come back. I'll
Wow.
give you the
That's how you
money.
lost that
That's how I
engagement.
lost that engagement. Anyway, we did all the project. We did all the 3 bridges, finished them, made a loss as was predicted. I borrowed money here, borrowed money there.
Wow.
It was crazy. No, I can never forget that experience. Anyway, we finished the bridges, handed over, everybody was happy. And then we left. But here's the part of the story. 5, 6 years later, I bid for some jetty work here in Lagos. And, we were invited, we went through the process. Eventually, we won the project. So we started the project, and a few months into the project, the director in charge felt that we were not performing to expectation. And really, this performance is usually tied to finances. You see, you get these projects, you need to pump in some finances, all of that. So he called me for a meeting in Abuja, and he said, "Look, we gave you this project on the basis of the fact that you said you had capacity." So I explained to him, I said, "We've tried the banks." He said, "But when you were submitting, you wrote that you had financial capacity. Now all this story." And that day when I appeared at the meeting, it was not only him that was there. He was there. Somebody from legal was there. Somebody, a technical assistant to the MD of that agency was there. So I knew I was in real, because once you have somebody
They're
from
going to
legal,
drill you.
problem there. So he now said, "You know what? I think I need to help you. You need to understand how you got this project." I said, "Okay." We were staying at Sheraton. It was at Sheraton, and that meeting was in Sheraton Hotel. And one of the bridges we built in 2012, 2013 was beside Sheraton. So he opened his
Oh.
curtain. He said, "Is it not you that built this bridge?" I said, "Yes." He said, 5, 6 years ago, when you people were building this bridge, anytime I come from Lagos and I stay in Abuja, I always stay in Sheraton. So as an engineer, I'll look outside my window. I saw the construction you people were doing. In the evening, when you people close, I will walk out. I'll look inside the pit. I was watching as you were building a building, a building. When you finished and the building, the bridge was standing, I walked. I said, wow, this is very nice. And you people put your logo beside the bridge. I asked people, I said, who is this new Lebanese company? They said, no, it's not a Lebanese company, it's a Nigerian company. He said, and since 6 years ago, the name of your company stuck in
his brain.
Now, the day when your bid came to my table, I was in charge of tenders board in this agency.
Look at life.
And I saw the company, I said, my chance. And I realized that you people were at the lowest. So I said, whatever it takes, this Nigerian company must get this project. So when we came to Abuja to defend the project, everybody in the tenders board said, don't give it to a Nigerian company. Oh. You better find a foreign company to give it to, otherwise they will fail. I said, no, now. I spoke confidently. I said, I've seen their work. They come and see the bridge they did. If they can do that bridge, there's nothing that says they cannot do this jetty. He argued. He said he argued with them for about an hour. At the end, they told him, they said, okay, you know what? We'll leave you. It's your agency. It's your money. However, we want to warn you. When this Nigerian company fails you, not if, when they fail you, don't come back here. He said, so let me tell you something. This project is not only your integrity that is on the line.
His own too
My
is at stake.
integrity is also at stake. So go and find money. We have money. There's money in this agency, but you need to find money to get it to the stage where you can.
Before you can then collect
Lord.
cash call.
I left that meeting. My legs were shaking as I walked out of his room. And before then, it's not that I didn't try to raise money, but the kind of money that I was getting was going to be detrimental.
Yeah.
These are
the rates,
10% per month.
Yeah, the rates were crazy.
I called the guy. I collected 150 million, 10% interest per month. Because I said, there's no way I can fail this. I cannot afford to fail. I collected that money at 10% per month. I paid back. So I got the money. We started doing the project. Challenges came. That project entered COVID. You know, COVID, after COVID, there was NSAS, all of that. The project ended up, and I had collected this money already.
Hi, God.
You know, that money was 2019 into 2020. I just finished paying that money back last year with interest and penalties.
You are kidding.
I collected 150 million. I paid back 360.
You are kidding.
And the person...
Was the project even profitable?
Wait now. The person that gave me the money said that 360 that I paid is even a concession. Because, I signed the agreement now. There are penalties, there are this, but of course, those things are negotiable. So I paid back 450. I paid back 360 million. We finished the project. That's why I'm saying I just finished paying the money that I borrowed. 4 years after the project had been completed is when I finished paying the money.
Bro.
Right? Now, you're saying loss and all of those things. We finished the project, we handed over. One day, I was at the airport. That man had retired. I just bumped into him. Say, come. I need to tell you that I'm very proud of you. See, forever, you always have a name, this agency. He said, that time we awarded that project to you, I insisted we awarded 2 others. So it was 3 we awarded. And I insisted we gave all of them to Nigerian companies. You are the only one that finished. All the others ran away.
They failed.
So don't worry. I know that it was hard. I know. Because I was telling him as everything was evolving. But let me tell you, the name that you have built is going to continue to ring for you. And that bridge has given birth to another
multiple other projects.
But the issue is that those giving birth to projects did not happen immediately. So I'm talking 10 years later, 12 years later. That bridge has opened up an international project, our first one, because somebody needed somebody in another country of Africa. Long story, they found their way to Nigeria. Somebody drove past the bridge, saw our logo, went on our website, called me. We had a meeting with a European company that wants to do something in an African country. They called us. Look, you cannot even begin to imagine what the losses of those bridges I've given birth
So
to.
one needs to be very forward thinking. It's not every time that it's transactional.
You just have to think of. I am too long-term thinking.
Yeah.
That sometimes it becomes. I feel like, when am I going to enjoy?
Yeah. And a lot of people around you will not be able to see into that big picture.
When I'm saying we're making a sacrifice, we can't do this now. Just let's
People, a
put
lot
it
of
there.
people,
It's like,
people
but,
are too small-minded.
when are you going to enjoy this work that you're doing?
A lot of people are small-minded.
It's because, can you imagine work that we did in 2012 gave birth to work in 2018?
Yeah.
Work we did in 2012 is giving birth to work in 2025.
Yeah.
13 years later.
Interesting.
Imagine if we failed.
Let's on a closing thought, what would you say for those who are watching? Because as you were telling these stories, I was wondering if it was me, maybe I would have given up, to be honest, because when you are stacking losses, when it's and I know the way construction is super complicated. There are too many moving parts, too many headaches.
Oh, yes.
As you are dealing with losses, somebody is probably stealing something somewhere.
Oh, yes.
So what really, really just kept you going? Or was there any time that you wanted to just shut down and just run away? And so that we can close with that lesson parting shot for our audience.
There were occasions when I felt, why did I resign my job? Let me just...
making a lot of money, JP
Morgan. By the time I resigned, I was doing okay. I had just been promoted. Matter of fact, a couple of weeks ago, I saw a post on LinkedIn of some of the people that were with me in JP Morgan. Some of them are MDs of units of... there was, so I thought, but on the days when I feel like that, after beating myself up, I'll wake up again.
Stand up again.
I don't know what it is. I can't explain it. Honestly, I really don't know. I think some of it is nature. Part of it is nurture as well. Maybe what I've read, what I've seen. Just knowing that if you stay the course,
it pays off eventually.
If
you are consistent.
If you are consistent, paying the price. It might not look like it then, because then I will owe staff salary. I collected the car that my wife was driving, turned it into an official car. I'll beg her, please now, it's for this business. She look at me, I say, okay, no problem. So don't worry, when this business makes money, I'll change your car. I'll buy you a car. You have to also be, when you motivate yourself, you have to be able to motivate the people around you, motivate your family, motivate your children,
that there is
motivate your staff, that there's hope, that this thing, don't worry,
Lord,
this thing will work out.
So interesting.
There are days when I will come in the morning, tell the guys, we're going, this thing is going to work. No shebang, nothing to make that thing happen. There will be days, they will send, the daily, requisition for things that need to be done. At the time when they're sending that thing, I don't know where that money is coming. I don't know where it's coming from. But I just know, like I put something on my LinkedIn page. Sometimes what stands in the way must become the way. What stands in the way, you must find a way to turn it to the way. So you are there and thinking, I must find a way out.
Yeah.
And one way or the other, there are days that I would just not want to leave the house. I'll just, you stay in one corner like this in bed and think. But after I do it for 30 minutes, I'll dust myself up. The moment I'm out like this, it's as if I'm not the same person. Yes, we are human. You will have the days when you feel down. It's natural.
Yeah. Everything cannot just be
nobody's a robot. You have those days. You need to have one or two people around you. That
grit and resilience.
The grit must come from you. But at the same time, some of us need people that you can run to.
Yeah.
That, will see you as you are and not feel like, they owe you. Why are you having problems?
Yes.
Everybody has problems, and will just stay there with you when you're in the trenches. Sometimes you don't even need them to give you money.
Yes.
Sometimes the people that you're talking to cannot even give you money.
They don't even have the money.
But they will just be there. Sometimes silence.
Support system is super important.
Support system, I tell you, everything will be fine. But that grit must come from you.
Yeah.
And I think that comes from some experience. If I just want to mention about, in the Bible, you hear the story of David. When it was time for him to face Goliath, he told the children of Israel, or the king, he said, I was in the bush keeping the sheep, and a lion came and I ran after the lion and I smote it and I collected the lamb he was going to steal. Another time a bear came. I ran after a bear and I killed the bear.
Those things
So
were
God,
preparing you.
yes, God that was able to help me to kill the lion and kill the bear. This Goliath, the same thing will happen. So what am I saying? Test your hands with the small things.
As
So
early
this,
enough as
so
possible.
those times I was selling computer parts, selling used cars, making loss, collecting. It was this. That was the tested.
It was a testing
Yes,
ground.
it was testing ground. It was the ground where you are building the grit. Because now you think, okay, I made loss from that car, but I didn't die now.
Yeah.
When I sold computer parts, there were issues, but I didn't die. So now
And your threshold,
you
threshold
grow,
has built up.
you build it. So now you don't even want to understand the
Yeah.
kind of things.
Yeah.
We entered transactions last year that we needed billions for, and we were talking big in meetings with zero money in the account. But a year later, those projects are happening. The money came.
Yeah.
The money came.
It's about building that threshold.
Yes.
for
Those days, okay, that time I was having conversations about speeding tickets. Now, a month, 2 months doesn't pass, you get a call from EFCC, you get a call from so the grit that you have built. So when EFCC calls, you know that I'm doing honest business.
Yeah.
Do you know how many EFCC offices I've been to in this country? You can't do big business and there will be no issues.
If you haven't gotten a call, you have not
somebody
done
will
big
report
business.
you. Someone will say you did something. As long as you're doing honest business, you present your documents. You say, this is what we've done. This is how it happened. These people are not. It's not as bad as they were. If you have not built some good, when that
small thing you've given up,
you can almost die.
And I think that's the closing shot for us today. I know that almost every session we have, we talk about resilience, we talk about grit, we talk about tenacity. But I think that this is your story, especially because I would have given up if I was in debt of hundreds of millions. And I think that is important because these days the threshold for grit and giving up amongst young people is just too much. It's too low. It's almost under the table. Once they go online, see somebody flashing a new car, immediately depression has set in, mental health. Once a boss says, "Oh, I need this done," mental health are broken down. So in as much as we need to take care of our mental health, but we need to understand that the more you build a threshold, increase your threshold for stress and challenges, the closer or the more resilient you get and the closer you are for success. Thank you so much, Mr. T. It's been nice talking to you. I look forward to seeing you again on another episode of the Failure Diaries Podcast. I am personally wowed. In fact, I can't believe it. A lot of the things I've known him for years, and I'm hearing some of these things for the first time. And I think that if I've learned this much, you can learn a lot more. I'm sure you know a young person out there who's about to give up. You have friends, you have community members, you have church members, mosque members who can get inspired by this story. Click on the share button right now. Share with them on WhatsApp. Share on your Instagram stories. Share on your Facebook page. Just share everywhere. In addition to following us, drop your comments. Let's know what you think. Let's know what you need us to improve. Let's know who you even want us to talk to next. And we'll be happy to do that. I'll be reading your comments. I and my partner will be reading your comments. And we look forward to seeing you again on the next episode. See you. Bye-bye.